So I'm technically filming my wrap up pretty early, but it is what it is. We're just gonna count whatever reading I do today and tomorrow for the next month's wrap up in June. So here's everything that I read in May. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamika. This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. Today I'm going to be going over my May wrap up. I am very excited to be sharing this month's wrap up with you all and to be getting it over with because I have not done well this month at all with reading, but it is fine. Everything's all good. So yeah, let's hop on into it. I'll tell you what I have read this month. So I read 12 titles in May. I have talked about some of them already, and this month was just not a great reading month number wise, and it's also not a great reading month like rating wise. So keep that in mind as we are talking about the books that I read this month, because I normally read anywhere from 15 to 20 titles. So I got relatively close to my normal amount that I read, but I still just did not enjoy a lot of it. So we're gonna quickly go over what I talked about in the first half of my wrap up in the mid-month that I did. So first of all, we have Killin' by Natasha Knight. I really enjoyed this. I gave it a 4-star. I have Misbehaved by Charlie Rose. I also give this a 4-star. I had Lothair by Cressley Cole, which I gave a 4.5-star. I really loved this. If you didn't hear me gush about it, I absolutely fell in love with this book because our heroine Ellie is from Appalachia, and hello, I am from Appalachia in case you didn't know. I love this book a lot. Then I read Jim Bunny by Brianna Hale. I gave this a 4-star. I just enjoy this novella series. So then I read Credence by Penelope Douglas, and I gave this 1 star. And if you want full thoughts on this story, on this book in particular, I have a whole rant review, so you can go watch it if you would like. I hated this, so that's where we're at. All right, and I am going to continue this wrap up with a positive note. So we're not gonna go in chronological order, because if we did that, no thank you. Because after Credence, I read 2 1-star books. So let's start with the book that I loved the most in the second half of the month, was Her Soul to Take. Let me tell you, this demon romance was absolutely freaking delightful. This is a paranormal, dark romance that read like a horror. It read like the most delicious, dark piece of literature that I could have ever wanted, ever could have consumed. I absolutely fell in love with this. So this follows our heroine, whose name I've already forgotten. So this follows Ray, who moves back to her hometown. Her family moves to Spain. She decides to stay in this small town that she grew up in and move back there. She ends up going to school there. She's a paranormal investigator, and she has a YouTube channel. It's absolutely adorable. She makes content for her YouTube channel while she investigates paranormal stuff, and she's just not getting the results that she wants on her channel. And there are other things going on in this town that she doesn't know about. Like, there is a cult where a demon is being, not held captive, he's being like held there because he has been like binded to this cult leader, and he's having to help this cult leader perform human sacrifices in order to awake this ancient god in the coal mines. So I am very excited to say that I absolutely freaking love this book. There's a lot of triggers in here, a lot of things that I need to tell you about, but like, I adored this. I loved Ray. I loved Leon. Leon is the demon. So in the midst of her trying to get her YouTube channel some success and get some views, she ends up accidentally summoning Leon, who is also the school security guard. So she thinks like he's just pranking her, and he's not really a demon. Lo and behold, he is actually a demon. So it was actually really adorable, the two of them, because he's just like, you're an idiot. Why do you not think that I'm not a demon? I'm literally, you summoned me. I am a freaking demon. It turns into them having a very sexual relationship very quickly, very instant attraction, very instant lust going on. And she's supposed to be one of the human sacrifices. And Leon is like, hey, give me your soul and I'll protect you. So that's kind of like the gist of the story that I can tell you without spoiling anything. I absolutely freaking love this book. Let me tell you some trigger warnings and some things that happened in the book. There is non-con in here, there is breath play, there is blood play, there is needle play, so there is some body modifications on the heroine from the hero. There is spit involved, there is pain play and fear play, there is sex in public, they have sex in a cemetery. There's bondage, restraints, and spanking. Obviously, this one is spicy. He pierces a body part on her. I was like, okay, hello, I'm here. Listen, okay, but like on a real note, my mind was like, that's not sanitary. I'm gonna let it slide though. Like, that's not sanitary, but we're gonna let that slide. So I was into it. I loved it. So obviously there's cults, murder, human sacrifice, everything that you could expect from that kind of dark in trigger warnings, expect it, because that's most of it actually. So I love this. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely fell in love with it. Did I order a signed copy from the author? Yes, I did. I can't wait. I absolutely love this. I cannot wait to read the other books from this author. So I'm gonna talk about some of the other books I read during the Love of the Night readathon, which is where I read Her Soul to Take as well. So I also read Wild Thing. This is Blue Bloods #2. This is a paranormal vampire romance. This one has a witch who is in an arranged engagement. She has to be married off to this certain person, but she has a fated mate with a vampire, and it's them trying to figure out if they can break the bond between them or break another type of like blood bond that she has made with someone else. I also enjoyed this one. This was not as good as the first book. I felt like this one was just like not as gripping as the other one was. I felt like it was a little slower in places, and I just wasn't 100% on board with everything that was happening, but I did really love the conclusion on what the heroine was willing to sacrifice for her mate, and I really loved that they didn't fight being mates, and I understood why she made the deal that she did in the beginning, because it was to save her mate who she didn't realize was her mate yet. Really loved the story, other than it just not being as good as the first one. So this one was definitely like a 3.5, whereas the first one was a 4.5. I think they gave it a 4.5. Either gave it a 4.5 or a 5. But this one was still really good. I just not as good as the first one. So it was more of a 3.5 rather than, you know, the other stuff. It was a little slower in places. I wasn't as in love with the characters as I was on the other one. Mostly the reason the rating had dropped so much was because like I had such high expectations after loving the first book so much. This one just didn't hit the way I wanted it to, which was fine. This one made me absolutely sure I was in love with fated mates. I love the fated mates trope. 20 out of 10. Love it. Then I read Devilish Mate by Elizabeth Briggs. Again, this is same situation, just wasn't as good as the first book. I just was kind of bored on this one. So the first book, we follow our heroine Hannah, who ends up going to Las Vegas to try to find her friend. She makes a deal with the devil of Las Vegas. Turns out he's actually Lucifer. I can't tell you much more without spoiling, because this literally continues the plot from the first book. I'm not a fan of how the story is going, and I would have much rather it wrapped up in this book, I think. I gave this a 3.5. I still enjoyed listening to it and consuming the story. I just think that we could have done better maybe with a trilogy rather than or with a duet rather than a trilogy. I don't know, maybe it will all come to fruition after this last book I read. But with this one, I was just like, you know, could have done with ending it here, like having the story solidly wrap up. But I don't know, we'll see where it goes. For this one, again, I feel like it suffered from middle book syndrome mostly. And then I also read Wicked Deeds on a Winter's Night. This is book number 3 in the Immortals After Dark series. I quite liked this one. This was an enemies to lovers. Adorable. This one follows McCreeve and Marquetta. They are enemies to lovers. It is so cute. He thought that his fated mate was gone and not able to come back to him. He thought she was dead. And then this girl comes along, Marquetta, who is making him react the same way he would if she was his fated mate. And they are very reluctant. He really believes that she's been reincarnated, but he's very confused on how, because she's a witch and he's a Lycae, and he does not like witches. And he has like a lot of prejudice against witches, and she's such a powerful witch, and it is absolutely adorable. I really loved them. Their bickering was just, it was amazing. It was everything I could have wanted. and I just adored it. I just really, really loved it. This was definitely like a turning point in the series. I think the first 2 books were just okay, and then this one, I really felt like this one was like, okay, this is really, really good. So I really feel like this 3rd book, you start getting past that world building that kind of clogs down the first 2 books, and this one, you're definitely like getting the swing of things. I just really, really enjoyed this. I definitely am going to be continuing the series, and I'm really happy that I decided to continue on. This one was really, really good. I just freaking love the enemies to lovers aspect between them and everything of the sort. It was just precious. So then I read Promised in Blood. This is a prequel novella for a series that's coming out in July, and this is by Lilith Vincent. And I'll let you all in on a little secret. This is Brianna Hill's pen name. I loved it. I loved it. This is a mafia reverse harem. It was only like 7 chapters, so I really don't have a lot that I can share with you. Brianna did say there are going to be cliffhangers at the end of every single book, and I am going to probably jump out of a window waiting for each book to come out. So this is a dark reverse harem mafia series. Our heroine is 17, and she is engaged to one of these 4 dudes, and they're much older than her. They're all criminals, and she has to pick one to eventually marry when she turns 18. So I'm not gonna share anything else. I'm gonna share these triggers with you because Brianna did send them to me. So it's dark themes and on-page murder. The 17-year-old heroine gets manhandled and threatened by 2 of the characters. There is no dubcon in this novella, but there will be dubcon in the first book after she turns 18. Dark as shit, let me tell you. I cannot wait. Give me all of it, please and thank you. That's all. All right, I don't need my phone to tell you about these 2 books. I don't. No, I don't. So let's talk about The Shining by Stephen King. 1 star. That's all. Moving on. No, but seriously, so this is an interesting thing for me because I used to absolutely love Stephen King. I have said in the past I will not be talking about him on my channel anymore. I have actually moved that. I've actually changed my stance on where I'm standing with this. It's not that I'm not going to talk about him anymore. I just want to caveat why I don't support him by physically like buying his like new releases and things. He has a lot of misogyny, racism, homophobia, just a lot of bad shit in his books, and also just like his opinions on things sucks, and I'm pretty sure he stood with J.K. Rowling, and we don't do that. So I wanted to give his books another try because like I've purposely not been reading them because I've just felt like what's the point of reading them if, you know, I'm just not going to talk about them. So I said, you know what, I'm going to read one of them. I'm going to see if I still enjoy his books the way that I used to. I have read over 20 of them, and let me go ahead and tell you, fuck that. I'm done, I think. I'm about 99% sure that I am done with Stephen King. I want to say less than 10 books that I actively want to read from him, and I don't think I'm going to keep my entire collection. I don't think that I'm going to continue reading him. Like I said, I have about 10 books that I would like to continue, and it's really frustrating because like his books have been some of my favorite books that I have ever read. But I read The Shining and I just hated it. I hated the characters, I hated the story, I hated the plot. That's the same thing. I hated the setting, I hated the progression of everything. Nothing felt scary, nothing felt like suspenseful. Felt like it dragged forever and ever. It just never really felt like it was going anywhere, and I just didn't care. I was listening to the audiobook and the N-word was in there, said with a hard R. I'm just done. I know that the book was written in the 70s and it was a different time. It's still not okay. I still don't think that it's an excuse. So moving forward, I just doubt there's going to be a Stephen King book that I force myself to read at this point. Like I said, I have less than 10 that I actually want to get to, and I just don't even know if I will ever get to them. at this point in my life, after this book, I feel like I'm just done. I just didn't care at all. And I feel like there's so many other better horror and thriller authors that I would rather read from than Stephen King. So I think that I might be done after this book. We will see. At this point, it's leaning toward more than likely, but I didn't want to talk about this one for too long because I don't know how to tell you why I didn't like it other than that. It's so forgettable too. I just don't care. So then I decided to torture myself. I decided I want to read one of the darkest books that I can find, right? I was like, let's see if I can push the boundaries. Let's see if I can find a book that I enjoy. Spoiler alert, I didn't. I read R.I.P. by Charity B. This author, she wrote The Skeleton King, which, granted, I enjoyed The Skeleton King. Controversial. It's not good. I don't recommend you read it, but I was sure shit entertained with The Skeleton King. However, moving on to R.I.P. This book was just no entertainment value. Just a complete train wreck the entire time I was reading it. Literally, our heroine and our hero are children. Start that off there. They are 18 and 17, I think, or 18 and 16, I don't remember. They're very young. They're brother and sister. There are so many trigger warnings in this book that it was literally just like the author sat down and said, what can I write that is just going to be absolutely disgusting and push every boundary possible, and see if I can make myself get banned on Amazon but stay on Amazon, because that's exactly what happened in this book. Essentially, our hero and our heroine start having a relationship and they get caught and then they have to go on the run. It's so stupid. I don't have words for it. Our mother has schizophrenia. The daughter has schizophrenia. They're a pastor. I think the dad's a pastor, and they are also, there's so many trigger warnings. They kill bad people. So their family game night is murdering people. They bring the kids into this. So the mother is raping her son from the time he is like 13 until she dies. The father is raping the mother. So a lot of marital rape. The mother murders the father and kills herself. I don't know how to put this into words without just like, what is this? Why was this written? I don't know. I cannot figure it out. I don't think I will figure it out. I am just genuinely confused about it. I have no words. I have no words. Don't read it. Jesus Christ. For once, listen to me when I say this is just not. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Remember how I said just read The Skeleton King? It's hilarious. Like, it's so funny. It's not a joke anymore. Don't read it. Do not do it. No, let's just not. Let's take Charity B and just put her over here, away from all the books we're actually going to read, okay? So, I take it all back. Do not read The Skeleton King. Don't do it. Don't read R.I.P. Don't do it. Don't read her. Let's just not, and let's just be happy, okay? So, we're going to take Charity B and we're going to put her over here. This is sad area. This is our happy area. We're gonna stay over here. If you wanna read any of the books, they are linked all down in the description. I will not include R.I.P. by Charity Verity because we're not reading it. We're not doing it. No. Okay, so listen, leave me the emoji down in the comments with a little sweat bead on its head. You know what I'm talking about, where it's like, haha, you know which one? Leave it down in the comments because we're not reading Charity B. That's why. So I will see you all in my next video. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up. And again, I'm reiterating, please don't read Charity B. Please, dear God, don't do it.